It's a myth that we can't be in pain and still be joyful. A myth that we can't be poor and be content. A myth that we can't be uncertain, alone, or physically declining and find fulfillment in the present. A myth that life cannot be hard and still be enjoyed. All these difficulties need not be mitigated, they can be accepted today, now. There's still beauty, joy, and love in the world in abundance. To be able to miss a meal and not feel hungry. To be able to be ignored and still feel valid. To be able to be denied opportunity and still filled with spirit. All quite possible. It's possible to live without fear, regret, or ill will. To remain engaged in the present. To not be overcome by worst-case scenarios. We can be convinced that happiness lies within, but we must first dispose of all the clutter preventing it from surfacing. This is not fantasy. Examples of this abound around the world. It might be hard to shift one's perspective, but it's likely easier than battling unhappiness the rest of our life. We continually hear coping mechanisms for dealing with stress, anxiety, etc. Most probably help at times, yet reported levels of unhappiness continually rise, even before COVID-19. Michael J. Fox Foundation held a webinar today with guidance for coping with additional stress placed as a result of COVID-19. I appreciate the effort. However, I believe it's important to supplement with perspectives unfortunately not addressed. I wrote the accompanying piece in advance of this webinar. I had hoped it would be introduced. It wasn't. I'll try yet again. I did not once hear the term God, spirituality, prayer, or anything comparable. It's understandable panelists might fear being a wedge, yet so many have found life, happiness, purpose, and joy in these things. Seems like a significant omission, even if off-putting to some. Scriptures across diverse faiths generally teach similar concepts. Almost all guidance was reactive rather than proactive. It assumed that external events must necessarily disturb us. It assumed that our thoughts necessarily get in our way. The guidance didn't allow for preemptive perspective, for evaluating our needs, expectations, attachments, and desires, for a shift in perspective so that we rarely, if ever, need bandage interventions. We seem to be anxious to get back to our pre-pandemic anxiety. We could instead be at peace knowing our future can be more peaceful and equitable. I'm not diminishing relentless challenges many face or neurochemical causes of mental health problems. However, it's my experience that humans have an amazing ability to adapt. We need reminders of how amazing each of us is, reminders that we all have a capacity to love and be loved unconditionally. We have strength we're not tapping. The act of discovery is often hard, yes, but fulfilling. There is another way out of unhappiness. Nobody ever told me this until recently. Haha, of course they did. I wasn't ready to hear it. It wasn't until I started running out of choices that I considered any of this in earnest. The more I let go, the more I default to the present, a place of near addiction now. If living is an addiction, I'm drinking it up. Give love. Feel love.